Greetings from London. This is Maryum Sharif, and welcome to the Star Moguls podcast. This week, I'm joined by someone who I discovered through TikTok, an innovative designer, and has created this smart fabric about helping us with our vitamin D. Here she is to talk more about her product, her vision, and the collection that's coming out in February next year. So it's my pleasure to welcome Ifigeneia Paziana, Fee for short. Hi, Fee.
Hi, so excited to be here.
Oh, wonderful to have you. So I discovered you from TikTok, and when you were speaking about the subject, I find it absolutely fascinating. So you're developing a smart fabric that allows vitamin D naturally to absorb into the body. So that's the concept.
Yes, so with a slight tweak, if I may.
Yes.
So the body is able to naturally produce vitamin D once certain rays, because the rays, we've got sunlight that produce different levels of rays, UVA, UVB, and actually UVC. So if you get skin contact with UVB rays, once that happens, it kicks off a natural process within your body that allows it to produce vitamin D.
Right.
So the fabric itself allows for the passage of these rays, a certain amount, obviously, because we don't want to burn and we want it to be safe.
Yes.
A certain amount of these rays to actually pass through the fabric and allow your body to do what it naturally does.
Well, living in the Middle East for the last 6 years, nearly all Arab women that are in the Middle East kind of have a deficiency in vitamin D. So this whole concept in this new fabric is really exciting. And I think that my ladies in the Middle East will find it absolutely fascinating. But tell me, how did you get into this design and creating this fabric? What made you get into this field?
So I'll try to keep it as concise as possible. It actually was born out of COVID.
So right. Okay. It's a COVID baby.
It's a COVID baby. So if we were going to take good things out of COVID, maybe we could attribute this as one of them.
Many good things. Many good things come from COVID.
Exactly. So I was on my terrace and I was exercising. So the concept of this is usually, as I find within, because my father's a doctor, so I'm quite knowledgeable in a bit of that world. As with any, this started as one thing and then it developed into something else. It started with my idea that if I'm working out and if I have tan lines on my skin, this in certain cultures is very undesirable, especially in my culture. It's very undesirable to, let's say, go out in the evening and have some kind of part of your skin that is really white, another part of your skin that's an extremely different color.
Right.
It's quite distasteful. So it was born from that. It was born from a place where I said, how can I solve for this problem? Does there exist a fabric? Does there something already in existence that could solve for this problem? Right. I found there are 2 or 3 manufacturers still in production that make something that's trademarked under the name Microsol. And this is 100% synthetic fabric that is, I'm not sure if it's patented or if it's expired, that basically has a way of knitting. So this is a knitted fabric, not a woven fabric, the one in existence. Is a knitted fabric that basically uses a specific knit and specific holes within the fabric. So basically, it doesn't have any special technology other than the fact that it just has holes in it, and it's knitted in a certain way so that it could be formed in a pentagon shape to allow for that sunlight to pass through. Right. But again, it's 100% synthetic. And if it's on your skin, because I did buy, there are, I think, 3 companies that produce this still. I bought it. I made a sports bra out of it. I made some sports tops out of it. And it wasn't what I was looking for. Right. I said to myself, I can do better than this. I started to go down the road of, if I can understand the technology, could I produce 100% natural fabric with the same properties? I can't believe in the world of 2022, there doesn't exist something like this. Yes. So I started on my quest to do this. I read through all of the available, because when you file a patent, it has to be public. And so a lot of these things, if you have enough tenacity and curiosity, you can find these things online. So between the patents and between the hundreds and hundreds, if I were to show you my computer, it's slow because I think I have between 500 and 600 articles, peer-reviewed articles written by engineer, like, how can I say it in English? Fabric engineers across the globe that have done different studies on applying different chemicals and different processes to fabrics and how that affects them, what properties come out of that.
Yes.
And I thought, if I can understand how, because there are fabrics that give you 200% SPF, 300% SPF. If I understand how they give you that, I could reverse engineer it. And that's exactly what I did. So after reading these 600 articles, I came up with an idea. I came up with a method and a process of how I could reverse engineer it so that I could have, and I have a sample here, I'll show you in a minute.
Yes.
How I can produce 100% using organic fibers, apply a process to it, and basically end up with the result that it will give you a minimal amount of protection, but it will give you that ability that when you go out in the sun, you can be fully covered, but then still allow your body to do what it naturally should be doing. Right?
Yes. Not just speaking about the Middle East, but I think women in general have a deficiency in vitamin D. And so if you can solve this problem for all of us.
I'm trying. I'm trying.
You didn't really come from a design or fashion background. You actually have a finance background.
I do have a finance background, but I have been designing for private clients. I've been making my own clothes since I was about 12.
Right.
So by 12, meaning that, I would my mother was a fashion designer growing up.
Right.
My father's a doctor.
That's where it comes from. Okay.
Yep. And so I had always access to big pieces of fabric. So I would, from 12, I was cutting up pieces of fabric and sewing them by hand and putting them on myself and running around the house saying, today I'm a nurse, tomorrow I'm a something, whatever I could imagine. Yes. And that passion stayed throughout my life. So I used my career in finance to understand how companies work. But I never stopped wishing that I could make my passion my full-time career, because I had my private clients that came back to me because I took a very functional approach to design. How can your clothes work for you? They shouldn't be something, okay, obviously if you have the means to be able to do this, but if you take money to the side, the idea is that how do your clothes work for you, and not how do you have to buy something and make do? It makes you pull here and do that. Or if you have to breastfeed, or if you have to, I don't know, you have all these different
kind
needs.
of the pragmatic side of clothing.
Exactly.
So what is it that your mother designed? What was her forte?
So she did wedding dresses, mostly for Middle East, I would say at the time, higher society. So people, it was always custom dresses, obviously for events, but then custom gowns. So I remember as a little girl running around with 20, 25 seamstresses, all working away at like one huge wedding dress with a train that was probably 10 feet long.
Flamboyant.
Yes. And I just have this, just sewing the beads on this tail, sewing each bead individually. And so I grew up with always having this passion, but my father was very practical and said, how do you make money? How are you going to have a career in this? So I struggled for a long time, but I never let go of that. So I believe I put myself in a good place, if I were to try and look back and make the best of everything, that I got this finance background, but then I never gave up on this idea that I would find a way to make this my full-time career. And in the last 5 years, I've been able to do it since I've been living in Milan, but I wanted to take it to the next level. And that's where I sort of had this idea and thought that this was my way maybe to realize my own dream.
Also, when I saw you on TikTok, you also said something about, some of the Arab ladies that wear the hijab, and so, the modest wear. So you really were kind of tailored, probably asking for their opinion as well.
Actually, how that came about was two things, because when I first came up with this, when I got to the point where I realized that I could apply it to a cotton fabric or a linen or a, my father said to me, do you know that, because I said to this mentioned to him this aspect of the vitamin D. And he said to me, do you know that there are, because by definition, if you're a doctor who's studying the effects of specific pharmaceuticals, it makes a difference where you're from. For instance, Africans don't get osteoporosis. Like it makes a difference genetically how we're made up. And he said to me, do you know that there are demographics that suffer more from vitamin D deficiency than other demographics? And I said, so where I came from, this idea that I wanted to do something for myself at the beginning, it came from something that I don't want to say it came from vanity, because it was like, how do I better something for myself, to what's on the market, to, oh, this is not so great. How can I make what's on the market better? And then my father said to me, do you know that you could actually help people with this? And I kind of stopped and went, this is now, like, it became something so much more. But then I was really embarrassed. I thought, I am not from this culture. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to put myself out there. I managed to speak with a friend through somebody that I knew that actually had a very active TikTok account. He has like 900,000 followers on TikTok. And I thought, if I have to start this thing on social media, I need to sort of start my presence. And I wanted some advice from him. And I thought, I started by telling him that I invented this fabric and maybe I was going to use it for activewear, but really had this idea for vitamin D. And he lives in Dubai.
Right.
By the way. And he is Middle Eastern, obviously. Not obviously, but
yeah.
And he said, when I told him this aspect of vitamin D, he stopped and he said, Fee, you've really got something here. And I said, yes, but I don't know what to do with it. I don't want to be ridiculed. I don't want to be laughed at. I don't want to offend. No, the big thing is I don't want to offend anything. He goes, Fee, what's the worst that can happen? You're going to do good. Like, this is because you want to do some good. Put yourself out there and just see what happens. And let me tell you, that 50-second video changed my life. Like, completely changed my life.
Amazing.
From this to this. 50 seconds of my life, like, changed my life completely. So that's kind of the story of how he said, look, this could really help some people. Just ask them.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of amazing women saying, oh my God, this is fantastic. At the beginning, I actually got a lot of hate as well, because it's normal, it's TikTok. Of course, you're going to get the trolls and the haters. But, I think that you should never let that deter you from doing, in the end, like, what inside you really think is right.
What you need to, what you have to do.
Right.
Exactly.
What you have to do. Like,
you do feel like that you have blocked everything out, and it's a full length covering. So if that could be a solution, for sure. Awareness. Where are you in your journey now?
So I came back from I went to the supplier, that the person that's making the actual company that's the supplier that's making my fabric, because when I came up with the recipe, I had to test it. So the last piece of fabric that I got, because I was really close before, they all get sent to a laboratory, and the laboratory does a test that I'm going to mispronounce it, but it's called a spectrophoto. There's a scientific name that basically does this. It puts the piece of fabric, it takes a light source that imitates what the sun would do, and it passes it through the fabric. And on the other side, there's basically instruments that detect how many UVA and UVBs come through. And based on that, they give you the percentage, and they also give you an outcome SPF. And so this is how they test creams. They test anything that, if you are a company that wants to send in a product for testing for SPF, it's a laboratory that does this it's just a standardized test for this.
So SPF clothing.
Yeah.
I'm not really someone who likes wearing black. And when I was living in the Middle East, seeing black, it kind of absorbs all my energy. I'm not really someone who can wear black. And I think it's just a very heavy color for me. So when I was living out there and was married out there, I didn't like wearing it. I wore it in certain occasions because for sake of family and some traditions, but I really didn't like wearing it. I chose a softer color, like a brown, and I wish I could wear other colors, but it wasn't probably as fashionable as then. But now it's such an array of colors and beautiful designs. I hope that you can have some nice colorful designs.
So actually, the depthness, or the depth of a color saturation on the fabric has an effect on the SPF. So actually, by limitation, I have a restriction on how deep or how dark the color is. So I'm going to show you the fabric, and then I'm going to show you some samples of the color palettes that I'm going to be playing in, which are going to be the lighter colors. So this is an actual sample of the fabric. So as you can see,
very flowy,
it's quite light. It's very flowy, and if you were to touch it, I think you can see it's quite soft from the camera.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's very soft, and it breathes. Obviously, by definition, it breathes. But as you can see, it's not see-through.
Yes. Not transparent at all.
It's not transparent because
not even through a light or anything like
no,
that's
because
great.
there's a light,
Yeah.
as
you
you
don't
can
want
see.
that. Yeah.
So that was the other thing. So as I was thinking about this, it wasn't just the fact that I wanted to provide this vitamin D aspect, but it had to be also giving you a certain level of, it could not be transparent.
Yes.
And it had to be quite light. So by definition, very light fabrics like chiffon are transparent.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
But they also tend to be mostly synthetic unless you spend a lot of money on a chiffon. Okay. So part of the reason why this has taken so long is because it couldn't be transparent. If I went lighter than this,
yes,
maybe for more, I would say sort of like Eastern, like Occidental, as we say in Italian, more like that side. If it was a little bit see-through, it doesn't matter. But knowing the purpose for this, I had to test how thick could I go without compromising the efficacy of the vitamin D, but also giving you that level, that security that it's not going to be transparent.
That's a beautiful color for the summer.
It's I love greens. I love greens, so that's why. But
what is it, like a pistachio?
This is like a pistachio.
Yeah,
it's a pistachio. It's a mix between a sage and a pistachio. And I actually just sent a piece of this. I think you can see where I cut it. They're probably like, here, this is where I cut it with the pinking scissors. You have to send 6 pieces of the same lot. And I just sent that to the lab last week. So I'm waiting for that to come back. But I'm pretty sure that I was so close that I'm pretty sure that I'm going to come back with the right results. Now, do you want to see some color palettes?
Oh, they're nice.
So we have to, as I said, by definition, we cannot play in these dark colors. We are looking at something probably in this range here. Okay. In this range,
the yellows.
Yes, and possibly actually, I think this could be this. This is gorgeous.
That looks stunning.
Yeah. So this is just this is not that fabric. This is just a company that produces dyes.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. And this is what it would look like on something similar. Okay. Right. But just to give you the idea, because when you look at Pantones on the screen, and then you put it on fabric, it's like sometimes completely different. So we are looking, as I said, we're looking at these tones here, which I think, and anything in between, because I could literally give them a Pantone color.
Could you do customized? So would they be standard? Like, say, when would be a collection that comes out? When would you envision your debut collection?
So there are really 2 parts. I could have everything ready. I could have everything ready and shipped to my house. Let's say I could have it done in a month.
Right.
But the reality is that the logistics of putting together an e-commerce platform and all the parts, the back-end system, and also the shipping. And it's not just shipping. I want whoever goes to my website, whatever they see as the number they pay on the screen, that should be it. As we're talking about international shipping, there are always issues with customs and paying extra.
Yes.
And because I want to avoid all of that, there's a lot that goes into making sure that from my end, the customer has the best experience when they go on the website and they don't get any nasty surprises. Yes. So because of all of that, I'm hoping that for February 1st, there will be the spring collection for 2023. Which Wonderful. Is not that far away.
No, it's not actually at all, because you can just remove Christmas in December completely, and you've got like a couple of months really.
It's actually National Hijab Day on the 1st of February.
Of February, exactly.
And
exactly.
I was hoping to
launch, use that as
launch.
That's a great. So who do you think is your inspiration throughout your fashion journey besides your mother?
I would say there are 2 people that, like, and probably I'm going to, that I would say not define who I am, but I really respect, admire, and also there are also the way they structure, because I love making someone look and feel the best way they possibly can. So it doesn't matter how you dress, you should be able to put anything on and feel fantastic.
Absolutely.
So I love Alexander McQueen and Balmain are 2 people that I just love how they structure. It's from the structure of their clothing. Yes. Obviously, I could name lots of people, but it's just they have great structure. And I think, especially, I'm not 20 anymore. And I've noticed that it makes a difference how you stand. It makes a difference that if you have shoulder pads maybe somewhere. It makes a difference how you structure your clothing, and also how it makes you feel and stand when you're inside of a room.
Yeah.
So I really, from an architectural point of view, I really respect them.
So how will you use that concept of structure in an abaya, for instance? Because an abaya is quite flowy and soft and you know, full of ventilation. So we, you know, it's a free flowing fabric. And how are you going to put structure in something like that?
So it's the abaya, you're right, by definition has to be something flowy. It's more the dress and the shirts, because there are people who either wear a combination or wear one or the other. The abaya, I think, is one thing that you can put structure in the way that the colors different, the way that the actual pattern is made. So it's not necessarily that you're going to put structure in the shoulders, but there are ways you can cut the fabric to give you that posture, to give you that illusion, because in the end, as we're all looking to create an optical illusion when we dress. Okay. Absolutely. We're all looking to put ourselves in proportion. Even when we put on makeup, we're looking to widen something smaller, make something darker, make something lighter. And the concept of clothing is the same, right? Yes. So we can use panels, we can use different colors, we can use different combinations of things to give that illusion of that whatever aspect you're looking to not accentuate, or in this case, maybe you just, with the abaya, you just celebrate the flowiness of the fabric.
And will you just be designing abayas and hijabs, or is there a bigger collection to what you're doing? Are you going to be doing like dresses and shirts? And
yes, so the first collection will have 5 designs. It will have a hijab, and in its forms, it will have a shirt, a pair of trousers, a dress, and an abaya. So there will be 5 designs.
Right.
And that will be part of the capsule collection. So they will be well thought out, but looking more to be capsule pieces that can go pretty much with everything. Yeah. Right. That you could even possibly wear to work. So the shirt that I've designed is absolutely something that you could wear to work. You could wear it lunch with a friend. You can wear it to dinner. Depends how you style it.
Yes.
And then what I would like to do is create, because people have different ways they wear their clothing. They have different needs. Maybe they have different occasions. So it's
quite versatile in its wearability then.
Absolutely. So collars can be put up, collars can be put down. There could be pussycat bows that keep the collar up, but then maybe when you're at home, you can let it hang down. So your clothes should be designed thinking of you. It's not like if I put on something with a high neck because I have to go outside, but then I'm back inside, do I have to change my shirt? No, I can just put the collar down. So it's these kind of ideas that it's not just the fabric, it's more than that. I think it's you know, the fabric does its job, but the fabric will only do its job also if you go out in the sun. You have to also use it responsibly. So.
I would probably say about 4 or 5 years ago, the duster jacket became quite a popular feature in your wardrobe, and I loved them because there were these duster jackets where you could just throw them on, and they were like just an open abaya, very very versatile. So I had many in my collection, but again, very vibrant, different colors, and so it's nice that even the hijab is taking its own kind of format, and it's going through the ages, you know, and how it can be styled. I think it's a really great feature. Yeah, absolutely. Where would you like to be in like 5 years time? Where do you see yourself?
So I would eventually look, I think I can make a plan now of where I think I want to be, but I'm always one of these people that I change my course a little bit accordingly to what's the best. But I can give you my answer for where I think and I want to be right now in 5 years is that I would love to be able to move the manufacturing here to Italy. And so I would love to be able to produce my fabric here in Italy. And I would love to have to be able to have my own seamstresses and everything because everything will be handmade.
Is Italy your home? Is that where you're working from currently,
I'm in Milan.
And you'd like to be in the future?
Yes, I'm in Milan.
In your Milan.
I'm in the center of Milan. Yeah,
nice. It's beautiful.
So I want to be able to move the manufacturing facilities here in-house. And I just really would like to expand. I want to see men's collection because I want to see men's tunics, trousers, even headdresses if they want, children, activewear, you know, something that's more like sports luxe that people, you know what, instead of just, you know, could be made from different mixes of this material because the process can be applied to different mixes. I just have to test them to make sure, but I'm pretty sure that it's not going to be a problem. So I see a full collection, and I see a full collection for people that have contacted me through social media saying, I am Jewish, Orthodox, I have these needs, right? I'm someone that is like, there are so many applications for this fabric, and then so many other technologies that, along the way of of developing this fabric, there are so many other smart things that you can do to fabrics that can really help us in our everyday life. So I see different smart solutions that could be applied to our everyday life that could make us, antibacterial, obviously, like, things that I don't want to give too much away, but there are so many different things that different iterations I could do with this. So it'd be nice to see 3 or 4 different smart fabrics with many different applications.
What have you taken from the Italian styling and applied to the abaya or to your new collection?
The dreaded word layering that I know is something that I know that some people hate.
I actually love it. I actually love layering. Layering is life, I think. Everything in life is layering.
I believe so too. And I believe that I can actually make people fall in love with layering the right way.
Yeah.
Because I really believe it brings a certain level of sophistication to the outfit without necessarily having a million pieces in your wardrobe. So for instance, the shirt that I'm coming out with looks like it's a layered piece, but actually it's one piece. So if I were to sort of give you, so it's not, maybe it's Italian, maybe it's just my style, but if I were to define the feeling of my collection, I would like it to be effortless, but I would like it to be chic.
Yes.
So it looks like you put a lot of work into it.
Yeah,
but
that's what you need.
Look effortless.
You want to make like you've put a lot of effort into it, but actually
it looks effortless. It's effortless, but actually, and you're comfortable. So you put it on, it makes you feel fantastic.
Yeah.
You don't have to put a million layers underneath because it covers all the areas that you need to cover. And you don't suffer when it's hot, because there's nothing worse than feeling like you've got all these layers and you're sweating and you're this and you're that.
Yeah.
It's the worst. So I would say it's layering in the right way, but in a way that makes you feel chic, but also effortless at the same time. And also ageless. I really believe this, maybe through 3 things: chic, ageless, and effortless are the 3 things that I really believe are sort of the core of what I would like this collection to embody.
What would you say was your kind of, or has been your greatest challenge throughout this journey then?
Greatest, I would say that the greatest obstacle, I think, is this horrible little monster of uncertainty that creeps in every time, that even after you've made a decision says, oh, but actually, oh, but actually, oh, but actually. And if you listen to that voice, you're never going to start or you're going to quit. So I guess this is a part where you have to be strong enough to say, it's okay that I'm unsure. It's okay that I don't know what I'm doing, but I really want this and I'm not going to give up until I get it.
Thank you so much, Fee, for coming on to the show. And I really hope that this product can help so many other women and men. And I'm looking forward to your collection in February, hopefully, inshallah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you. Take care.